Up in the news, ZNS Northern Service speaking with Member of Parliament for South and Central Abaco on his decision to not seek re-election. Also, a local attorney weighing in on the proliferation of independent candidates this election season. And a major tourist attraction open after being closed for months. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shashina Farquharson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news tonight, at the time, he was considered one of the youngest to ever seek political office. South and Central Abaco MP James Albury was elected in 2017, but now says he is moving on. Albury noting that its reasons are not political, but are in the best interest of himself and his family. Jamila Mizik has our top story.
Member of Parliament for South and Central Abaco, James Albury, stepping down from frontline politics after one term in office. The 27-year-old was elected in 2017, one of the youngest to be elected at the time. He spoke with our news team on his decision to not seek re-election in 2022.
So to put it in a nutshell, my reasons are really more personal than political. Me and my wife have talked about it a lot. And just feel like it's in our best interest in our personal lives, me to not run again. We're trying to start a family of our own, and we just want more time to focus on that. And I just feel like, entering into another 5-year term would just be a bit of a barricade to that, to being able to do what I really want to do. So I've just decided that it's in my best interest. It's in the best interest of my family, and I think it'd be in the best interest of my constituents for me to step aside.
The MP says he met with Constituency Association representatives on Monday to advise them of his decision. He says there are several candidates who have put their name forward for the position.
No determinations have been made as yet, but I've informed my local association that whatever direction they choose to go, I will support them 100%. Like I said, we have several aspiring candidates who are very qualified, and I think will bring a lot to the role. So I have no doubt that there will be someone capable to take the reins over for me. So I feel very comfortable leaving it in their hands, and we have a good association, and I'm sure we'll have a good candidate, and I'm sure they'll make an excellent member of Parliament.
Albury noting that one of his greatest challenges has been leading following Hurricane Dorian's devastating impact on the Abacos, coupled with the COVID-19 pandemic. However, he is thanking his constituents for the opportunity to serve at such a young age, adding that it was something he always wanted to do. When asked if he thought that he did all he could as an MP, his response?
Everyone has hindsight is 20/20, right? I rest soundly at night because I feel like every decision I've made was in the best interests of the majority of my constituents. Obviously, there's a lot more I wanted to be able to accomplish. Dorian and COVID kind of stalled those dreams a little bit, but I'm looking forward to departing office with a record I can be proud of.
Albury reaffirmed his support for the Menace administration and its leadership. Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Well, while the major parties are gearing up for the 2022 general election, it would appear that there is no shortage of interest among independent candidates. Some call it a proliferation of potential candidates who are not prepared to align themselves with any party, but they say that they are prepared to serve. Well, tonight we get the views of a political analyst on this matter. The political season has already begun with the ratification of candidates by both the Progressive Liberal Party and the Free National Movement. While it is unclear when the party's full slate will be announced, one thing is clear. This time around, there are many persons offering themselves to run as independents. Attorney Osmond Johnson ran on the DNA's ticket back in 2012. While he is no longer a member of the party, he believes that the addition of third parties as well as independent candidates make for a healthy democracy. As he says, Bahamians are looking at those who will be accountable and accessible.
And in the past, we had that. We had ministers who were personally known to most of their constituents, if not all of them. And I think we've lost that in more recent times.
But for independent candidates, he says it won't be easy.
I would say to any aspiring independent politician, if they want to join themselves in the fray, please, we need more diversity in our political field. We need to stop transferring power in between the vested interests of a few powerful families and interest groups in this country. And the only way that that can happen is for independent candidates to come to the fore, as well as for our continuing maintenance of a three-party political system in this country.
Here's his advice.
Once they can get the proper financing to support a campaign, you have to have funds in place in order to run any political operation in this country. I'm speaking to you from first-hand experience.
He firmly believes that the DNA also remains a viable party at this time.
It is something which shows the vibrancy of our political life, that we can have a third party now in the Bahamas. I would say to the DNA, just as a layperson, as a Bahamian citizen, that they should continue in their quest for a political office. We need to have some diversification of the ministers that come into power, and we need to have a change from the current status quo since independence, which has been either one or the other of the two main political parties.
Johnson says while politics is not a priority for him at this time, if given the opportunity, he would make himself available to further the progress in this country. In other news, weather experts are calling it a strange phenomenon. Cell phone footage capturing a freak weather system in the Freeport area late last night, just a short distance of the Grand Bahama International Airport. According to Chief Meteorologist in the Freeport Weather Department, Kirk James, it is an occurrence that he has not seen in decades. He believes this disturbance was caused due to fog and low stratus clouds.
Up until closing last night, there was no evidence of it. We had 1,000-foot layer ceilings, which would indicate perhaps some fog, because it attributed some clouds offshore with that funnel system. But that's the only thing we could contribute to. Perhaps fog. Stratus is very, very rare in the Bahamas, and it's associated with fog. Very, very low clouds, water droplets in the air. The fog, pretty much the last 2 mornings, was attributed as a frontal system nearby. There was a lot of moisture. You notice we had quite a bit of rain day before yesterday and into yesterday morning. And once you get the atmosphere saturated with very low winds at evening, at night, it's going to develop fog. And there was some wind flow, like 10 knots or more. It would have scattered it, so visibility would not have been reduced, and you wouldn't have seen that strange-looking phenomenon. Mm-hmm. But the winds had fallen below 5 knots, so that's an ideal situation for fog with moisture in the atmosphere, saturation.
And an update now from the tourism sector. The Garden of the Groves, a leader in the ecotourism market, is on the verge of a comeback. That's after being closed for months due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In this report, the president of the company is sharing the struggles and plans for 2021. Italia Hall reports.
President of the Garden of the Groves, Erica Gates, says her business was significantly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, but she continues to push forward. The business owner says after Hurricane Dorian, the garden was fully restored and reopened to the public in January of 2020.
The cruise ships came back and we were in full swing, and then March 13, the pandemic hit, and we had to close.
She says no jobs were lost during the pandemic, and she and her team found ways to create opportunities during such an uncertain time. Gates says they began targeting locals once the emergency orders were relaxed late last year. Residents now take part in ATV tours and support the cafe located in the garden, which is now under new management and is open for business.
We do not depend on the tourists at this time at all. We totally depend on local residents and winter residents. So that has helped us to get through this period, and the ATVs. And of course we still do the birding, so people come here, take out the memberships for the gardens. We have an annual membership that helps us also. It's like a little donation to our staff.
And while some activities are still closed, she says the good news is that they have been recently contacted by Carnival Cruise Line, who plans to use the garden as a bubble when they return.
because the garden is, as I said before, is a 12-acre property, and it can be closed off to anybody else during the time we have the cruise ships in port. So we are assured by the cruise lines that we will have the bike tour, the ATV tour, the Jeep tour, the garden tour will be the first tours to be reinstated.
She says it's a great opportunity and she is optimistic about 2021.
The garden is very close to my heart and I would never abandon it. I feel very close here. When I'm here and it is peaceful and I hear the birds and watch the birds, I have hope and I feel peace.
Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Tonight, the leader of Rotary's Disaster Committee is applauding the progress of construction on Sweetings Key. Rotary is spearheading a housing project for those whose homes were destroyed by Hurricane Dorian. It is a project that Rotary is proud to be a part of. Jay Philippe has more.
On Sweetings Key have been displaced living in tents for the past 18 months since Hurricane Dorian. The Rotary clubs on Grand Bahama have embarked on the housing project to rebuild homes on Sweetings Key. In the first phase of the project, 9 homes will be constructed, which is being undertaken and spearheaded by the Rotary with funding provided by a private donor, the TK Foundation. Grand Bahama Rotary Disaster Committee Chairperson James Charles saying that a collective effort from its partners and those involved all made it possible and that they look forward to getting residents in their homes.
But we have a very generous donor, the TK Foundation. And the TK Foundation came to us and said, Rotary, we know you've fixed over 1,000 homes, muck and gut fixing roofs and water and supplies, and you were first responders, but is there something that needs to be done in the East End? We hear those people are hurting out there. So we took a reconnaissance out to Sweetings Key, and as you can see, people are living in tents out here. They've been sort of left behind. The logistics and geographic location of Sweetings Key is difficult. It's at the eastern part of Grand Bahama Island, an hour away from Freeport. It's a 20-minute boat ride. If the weather's not right, bringing materials over here, bringing contractors, very difficult. So what Rotary is doing here, this is called the Sweetings Key Home Project. The first phase is 9 homes. We have our Team Sea Grape group of men who we're given employment to. They're living in tents themselves here. They have set up military operation, a camp out here, so they're feeding themselves and sometimes cold showers, that we're working on hot showers for them. We have lights, so they're working 18 hours a day. They're working so hard, and we're building these things at blazing speed.
Sarles also added that recently, the Life at Key Charitable Trust has a goal of $500,000 to assist in rebuilding 9 additional homes on the Key. So far, they have raised $250,000 towards the project.
They've really stepped forward. They see the need out here. So they're halfway there, and so you're going to be hearing more about them. So I am asking everyone, please support Life at Key Club Charitable Trust and their endeavor and their efforts to help Rotary build phase 2. 9 more homes, taking people out of tents, giving them dignity again.
Team Sea Grape will be staying on the Key, working 18-hour shifts 6 days a week until the project is completed. Sarles said that the group has been working at a rapid pace.
We've got an organized system in terms of the foundations. Now, these are not just normal homes. TK was very insistent that these went beyond the normal Ministry of Works for hurricane protection. As you can see, there's tie beams and they're built up off the ground, and on top of that, they're paying for the first year of insurance. So we're going to try to teach the people of Sweetings Key how important insurance is. If their homes were insured before, they would have been able to build them themselves. So now we're insuring for the first year, TK Foundation, and after that, hopefully that they'll start contributing and be able to insure their homes in the future. And
the Rotary clubs off Grand Bahama also saying that they will assist residents on the Key whose homes were compromised by the storm and have pledged to help rebuild the fishing community as well. I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
Member of Parliament for East Grand Bahama, Peter Turnquist, who is also a Rotarian, was also on the Key viewing phase 1 of Sweetings Key housing project. Turnquist says that he is thrilled to see that Rotary has made progress with the project in such a short time.
see the progress that the construction team has been able to accomplish in just 2 weeks of working on this. And as well as not only this house, but they've already put down the foundations for 2 additional homes. It speaks to the commitment of the Rotary clubs, but more particularly to the young men that are working on this project. I couldn't be more proud of the effort that I see here today. And the thing that really excites me is I understand that there are a number of young men who have no construction experience but are serving as apprentice on this program, and they're learning a skill. So not only are they doing a very good thing in terms of helping to rebuild this community, but they're actually learning a vocational skill that is going to be able to serve them well into the future.
And Turnquest also adding that plans are being discussed to help build the communities around the Key. He believes the Bahamas Development Bank could possibly become a major player in the future projects on that Key and the surrounding areas.
This is a beautiful little key with all kind of opportunities for persons. One of the things I've done today is to bring along the Bahamas Development Bank so they have an opportunity to see what is possible on the key in terms of economic activity. As you know, from east to west, the Sweetings Key offers a variety of different opportunities. On this side, in the creek, there is conch in the creek. There is bonefish in the creek. There's an opportunity to go to the key to the south of us and to explore. There is Bird Key that is not too far from here, and on the eastern side of the key, Sandy Beach, that is ripe for some kind of boutique resort development. So bonefish lodges on this side, resorts on the other side, taking advantage of all of the ecotourist opportunities in this area, being just within 10-15 minute boat ride away.
In news from the court, a trio arraigned today on a number of fraud-related charges. The 2 males and 1 female were arraigned before Magistrate LaQuay Lang in Magistrates Court Number 3. 44-year-old Denny Bullard of Pinta Avenue, 65-year-old Edward DeVoe of Holmes Rock, and 34-year-old Crystal Francois of Adena Court were all arraigned on 1 count of acquisition of proceeds of crime, 3 counts of fraud, 4 counts of forged documents, 4 counts of uttering a forged document, 2 counts of attempted fraud, 3 counts of conspiracy to commit fraud, and 1 count of possession of proceeds of criminal conduct. Now, they all pleaded not guilty and were granted bail in the amount of $27,000 each, with 1 or 2 sureties. The matter was adjourned to the 11th and 12th of March 2021 and the 7th of June 2021. Now, these matters were all reported to the Criminal Investigation Department. And 2 suspects on bail for murder and attempted murder arrested, among those due to combined efforts of law enforcement officers from Grand Bahama and Abaco as they took 2 high-powered weapons off the streets. And the first incident reports are that around 9 a.m. Monday, police officers assisted by Customs K9 unit went to a residence on Belgrave Lane, that is the back of town area, where officers observed 3 males exiting a vehicle with a firearm. 2 of the males proceeded down a service track road and placed the firearm into bushes. Officers then immediately ran into the direction of the suspects. The suspects then fled, and officers were able to capture them and took them back to the bushy area where they discovered a black AR-15 rifle with a scope attached. Officers then discovered, with the assistance of the K9 dog, 1 black M16 and M4 model with 105.56 mm rounds of ammunition in the magazine drum. All suspects were arrested and taken into police custody, and all items were gathered by scenes of the crime's officers. The 3 suspects, ages 23, 28, and 32, all of Freeport, Grand Bahama. 2 of the suspects are known to police and are on bail for murder and attempted murder. Now, in the second incident, this time in Abaco yesterday, shortly after 11 a.m., officers of the Abaco district, acting on information, went to Murphytown. There, they searched in bushes and discovered a black Matrix Aerospace 5.56 assault rifle with a black magazine containing 19 rounds of ammunition. No arrest was made in that matter, but police are actively investigating. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
ZNS Shopping Network. 4 days to go.